Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Alright, so it's been a while since we covered the KARI Lake trial out in Arizona. As you guys know with this topic, I take a little bit of a step back, I wait for more information to drop, for something concrete to be released, and boy, are things getting interesting in the courtroom. Now of course, like usual, slow your horses. If you expect the justice system or the system in general at large to be granting KARI Lake a resounding victory here, chances are it's probably not going to play out in the way that you're imagining or that you're hoping. Of course, all of that remains to be seen. You never know. It's really hard to prove something specific unless you have absolute clear transparency and the ability to really link the dots in a courtroom. It's an uphill battle. But to all the media goons and all the leftoids who claim that KARI Lake was actually just a crazy person spouting ridiculous conspiracy theories, it seems as though KARI Lake has a whole lot of actual evidence, a legitimate presentation here. The footage and the document evidence presented in court so far should be concerning to everyone, not just partisan Republicans who want to see their end result here, but to anyone who has an interest in a clean and trustworthy democratic electoral system. Let's try to be as neutral as possible, let's try to be as fair and objective as possible, because even if we have personal biases here, the way you win on this issue is by using objective, common sense, and appealing to open-minded individuals who aren't caught up in the partisan rage and back and forth. Let's take a look at what's being presented here and then have a conversation. We've got some stuff to get into. Let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so KARI Lake's legal team has been focusing specifically on signature verification. Recently, we were talking about how Democrats were claiming that KARI Lake took a massive L in the court system. After I think the Arizona Supreme Court rejected 6 of 7 of her claims, if I'm not mistaken, they were acting as if it was a resounding loss for KARI Lake, but she got one through. And that was the issue of signature verification, which has primarily been the focus. Then just the other day, Maricopa County judge granted KARI Lake a new trial to present election-related evidence. So what Democrats were saying was a massive loss for KARI Lake was actually a huge win, where she was granted another trial and even given access to actual ballots to make a presentation. Now with access to video camera footage and actual ballots, KARI Lake's legal team is starting to paint a very interesting picture. They're making the case that signature verification did not happen properly in the Maricopa election.
What is your understanding of the variables at issue in this case with respect to signature verification as performed by Maricopa County employees in elections?
So to be more specific, there's a statute that I was provided, and it's 16-550, I believe is the number, that says what is to happen under law with early voting ballots. And it says they shall be compared. So my understanding is, were they compared? Could they be physically compared under the definition of compared in the time that the data shows that they were compared?
As our expert will testify, this isn't a question of not getting it right. It's simply they are not physically capable of reviewing the signature, both from the standpoint of being able to do an assessment with respect to the procedures, but also with respect to the functionality of the computer. When the images, you have to scroll down to check the record signature. You don't see the scrolling down function. What that log data shows, Your Honor, is that over 274,000 ballots were approved at less than 3 seconds each. That includes one signature verifier who approved 100% of the 26,900 signatures that he verified at less than 3 seconds a signature. Maricopa's log file data shows that 11 of these signature verification workers approved 170,000 signatures at a rate of less than between 0 and 2.99 seconds, with a 99.97% approval rating. That's not signature review, Your Honor. Simply flashing a signature on the screen, clicking a button, and moving on is not signature review. As I said, the evidence will show that Maricopa knew exactly what was going on. They could monitor each of their workers and, in fact, told them that they were being monitored.
The question is asked by her legal team, given how fast these ballots were, quote, signature verified, could they actually be physically compared in the time that the data shows? The data shows that 11 signature verification workers approved 170,000 signatures at a rate between 0 and 2.99 seconds per ballot, with a 99.97 approval rating. And it's not just the data logs, it's video evidence as well. Take a look at this. On the screen, you see two signature verification workers at Maricopa County. You see one individual on the right side going through ballots, taking a look at the signature, comparing what they have on file with what was actually signed on the ballot, actually paying attention. When they're satisfied, approving the ballot, and you see that they're going quite slow, there's a counter at the bottom. And then you have the individual on the left side who's literally just spamming his mouse clicks, approving ballot after ballot after ballot. Scroll down, approve, scroll down, approve, scroll down, approve. Apparently, this is the case that's being made. The individual on the left side who's spamming these ballot approvals, this person alone verified over 27,000 signatures like a damn robot, each ballot being approved in less than 3 seconds flat. The question remains, let's not be partisan here. Concerned voters, even Democrats, people who are constantly going on about the importance of democracy, democracy this, democracy that, the preservation of democracy. Does this make you comfortable? Because this is a brand new phenomenon. Take all partisanship out of the equation. Forget about who this kind of election system benefits at the ballot box. In the past, you would have to show up on election day, present your identification, prove who you are, then you would cast your ballot. Real-time voter identification. Now the system has changed with these mass mail-in ballots. Don't you think in a system like that, there needs to be some checks and balances, some forensic work happening here? You know, an actual chain of custody? Because this, at least to me, this ain't it, Chief. This is green light the whole damn thing. Let them come in mass. We don't have enough time to check them. Just send them through. Approve, approve, approve. This seems like a damn recipe for disaster, regardless of what side you're on. I mean, one day this might start benefiting Republicans. It simply doesn't make any sense. At this point, it's not about Kari Lake, it's not about Katie Hobbs, it's not about Arizona or any other state. We're talking about the concept itself. If you are to have universal mail-in ballots or mass mail-in ballots, there has to be a way to verify every single human being casting a ballot, and there has to be a legitimate chain of custody, a unique method to ensure that every single ballot gets sent to the right person, is then in that person's possession, and then that sole person, that specific individual, making sure absolutely 100% that it is that person who brought their ballot to the ballot box or dropped it off on the day of. There has to be a system to ensure that. Otherwise, it seems like it's just kind of in the air. Like there's just a blind trust out there that the system's just gonna work without issue. You know, there's a lot of high trust societies out there. Excuse me when I say this, but it's the reality. America ain't one of them. In places like Japan, you can have an open concept store with self-checkout and no security, not even an employee representing the store, and people will walk into the store, purchase an item, actually pay for it before they leave. In America, that store would be ransacked and emptied in about 5 seconds, and the goods would be sold on the street in the black market. At the end of the day, it's about trust. It's about faith in the system. What Kari Lake is doing here isn't some desperate last-ditch effort to usurp democracy. No, what Kari Lake is doing here is arguably one of the most important things happening in the country right now. You know, it's kind of a problem. I mean, depending on the numbers that we've seen, based on different surveys and the way that the question's asked, it's kind of a problem when a good chunk, if not a majority of the American populace, voting populace, loses faith in the system, no longer trusts the system and trusts the result. When people are pessimistic and they no longer believe in an authentic, well-functioning, transparent, honest, proper democracy, that's a problem. Democrats, however, want to pretend as if that problem doesn't exist, and that if you have any questions in the system whatsoever, well then you're an extremist and you should probably be put on some FBI watch list. It's completely ridiculous. Pay attention to this Kari Lake trial, because her legal team is making a real interesting presentation here. Oh, and I almost forgot, I kind of just went on a rant there. Kari Lake's team also has access to physical ballots, and they've made some document presentations as well. Here are some of the signature verification examples that they presented presented to the court. These are all signatures that were verified. You'll see the signature on the ballot, and then you'll see the signature that they have on file. Again, I repeat, all of these signatures were verified. I think it's an honest conversation to have. The information shouldn't be censored. The gaslighting of the left and the corporate legacy media establishment should be completely ignored. People need to pay attention to the presentation and ask themselves very simply, is this the democracy that you want to live in? One that half of the country doesn't have faith in, and probably even more than half the country. The answer to me seems pretty clear. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know that we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.